And I am back here on the channel. It is the most earth-breaking, ground-shaking, but never media show money taking the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying YouTuber in YouTube entertainment today, Lee Cole the Fourth. And tonight I have a very special Let's Talk. This is the first time I've ever actually had someone on who I did an interview for. So go ahead and introduce yourself to all of the fine folks who are watching and or will be watching or who will rewatch this.
Right. All right, guys. My name is Aaron Easton, Aaron Handy on Twitter. I also go by Aaron Handy on Facebook. Um, but I go by Shaak Skywalker on YouTube. My YouTube channel is mainly about Star Wars, but I do other topics like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or God, what? Yeah, cartoons, like talking about cartoons, like how bad our cartoons have become over the years. Just random stuff. I've also done videos about like Brie Larson and Marvel.
You also have a beautiful singing voice.
Mom.
What? I'm just saying.
And she has a very sweet mom. So
My mom's funny. But yeah, that's basically what my channel is about, though.
all right. So awesome stuff. So uh it was kind of interesting how I came across your channel, but I'm gonna start with you first because normally I am a selfish individual and especially on my channel, it's always about me. So I'm gonna let you be my special guest. Why don't you tell me why it is you started your channel, what your goal was, and what what was your motivation for going ahead and starting a YouTube channel?
Well, I started my YouTube channel years ago, about a few years ago, and it was mainly just about, singing. I did a few covers here and there. They were from Disney. Unfortunately, recently I found out those videos were claimed by Disney. I had to delete all of them. The only I
Yeah, claiming the copyright claims.
Yeah. I delete all of them. The only cover that I have now is the cover from Witcher 3, which is I guess called Priscilla's Song. That's the only cover I have now. Um, but before that though, I found Stephanie Janisek. I think I'm pronouncing her name right. Um, Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, Demonjanai, um, just other people that are part of the Fandom Menace. And so they inspired me to start speaking out against what is what Disney is doing to Star Wars. Also, what angered me about because I recently, after starting my talk about when I first started my first video, I think it was on Star Wars. I think it was about Solo. But after I had seen The Last Jedi, um, I was pretty much upset that they went ahead and killed off Luke, and what they had done to his character. And I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to speak out against this. I'm going to tell everybody my thoughts. Unfortunately, I don't think I did a review. I did do a review on Solo, but yeah, but I decided to start, talking about what Disney's done to Star Wars and say, hey, this is not okay. This is, way Disney is tending to the SJWs and the way that they're just pushing the original fans away is, it's saddening, and it's yeah. So I think that's really why I started my channel.
This is Shaak Skywalker, Skywalker's Jedi Academy Kermit, who just jumped into the chat. and go ahead and say something to the good folks so that I can put your info down there. And so we are having a discussion. I came across your channel. I don't know why, but I have a love for anyone who shoots. I'm going to guess camera phone.
What's that?
Are you shooting on a camera phone?
Yeah, actually now I'm shooting on a tablet. It's the only thing I've got right now. I'm actually
I totally and utterly respect that. I'll tell you, if you watch some of my first videos, which I'm sure many people have, I have done tons of car videos. So actually, I'm very much in love with them. I shoot car videos more, but then YouTube decided to change its policy and that it was just going to all of a sudden require 1,000 subs in order for me to shoot. And my workaround is Streamlabs, but it's blitz you with my phone.
yeah.
But once I get it up and running, I will have my car videos back.
Cool. That's awesome.
But yes, that was part of the reason why I saw your videos and I saw kind of how you were doing them.
Yeah.
And I don't know, kind of reminded me of myself when I first started this channel. So
Yeah.
a great and wise person helped me out. Mary, if you watch this stream. So she helped me out when I was low in the numbers. So I wanted to get you on here. And Lee Talks is a program that I have where I have special guests on the program and we talk about certain topics.
Okay.
I wanted to tackle Star Wars because you seem to be a big fan of that. I wanted to get your take on what is your favorite Star Wars? What Star Wars did you grow up with? What one inspired you?
Well, my dad introduced me to the original Star Wars trilogy when I was 4, and I was growing up with the prequels at that time. And it's kind of funny. I don't like the prequels that much. I mean, I do like them. My one of my favorite prequels is Phantom Menace, but my ultimate favorite Star Wars film is Empire Strikes Back. Hands.
Yeah, Empires. It's always kind of funny. I considered the original trilogies are kind of and I remember I talked to Black Angus about this one time on a stream and I came up with that you always connect with the one that you saw first. When I was a kid, the first one I saw was A New Hope. So I was always a little bit closer with A New Hope, but I know a lot of people love Empire. And
Yeah.
I like them equally. I just put New Hope kind of a little bit up
Yeah.
on a higher bar than most of the other ones.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But I put Empire on a higher bar than,
th-
So
than the movies. So then, what was your feelings? What were your thoughts when you originally saw the abysmal product that would be known as the Force Awakens and Last Jedi? Well, Force Awakens, I gave a hard pass to, and I still maintain that it's okay. Didn't
yeah.
break me. I
Well,
think
okay, go ahead.
Last Jedi was more of a one. But what were your feelings?
My feelings, I actually didn't really see Force Awakens. I've seen bits and pieces of it. And to be honest, I refused to watch it because I'll tell you my feelings toward like Kylo Ren and Rey, basically to me they're just basically rewrites of the original characters. Like, Kylo Ren is more like Darth Vader and Rey is more like Anakin and Luke. And they're trying to compare them to the original characters, and I'm like, no, 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 no. Especially Kylo. I mean, I get so yeah, and I get so angry with Disney about that. They're trying to compare Kylo Ren to Vader. Vader is my ultimate favorite character. I mean, I have a whole bunch of stuff here in my room that just. I don't have a lot of stuff, but I have quite a few pieces of Darth Vader merch that I've collected over the years. And you know, to compare Kylo to Darth Vader is just it's an insult. You know, it's an insult to Darth Vader because Darth Vader is, you know, one of the most powerful Sith in Star Wars, besides Darth Nihilus from Knights of the Old Republic. And
Someone who knows their lore, yes, Darth Nihilus
yeah,
was
Darth Nihilus, Darth Malak, Darth oh god, what is it Darth Malak?
Darth Revan.
Yeah. I've played through the first Knights of the Old Republic. I also did play Jedi Jedi Order. What was it called? Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy, and Jedi what was it? Jedi Outcast.
Yeah,
So
Jedi. Yeah, it's Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy, and then Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2. Yeah, I was having a flashback. I don't know if there's it's a trap production. He does every weekend does a run through of Knights of the Old Republic,
oh,
and it's just great. And really quick, because I'm a slave to my fans, hold on, I want to give a shout out to PB. PB, we are having an interview tonight with my special guest, Shaak Skywalker, Jedi Academy. And I'm glad that I have that actually as Shaak, because I was like, how the hell do I say her name? Because I was going to like introduce you up, and I'm like, well, if I say the name wrong, then I'm just going to look like an ass. So I got it for that. Don't do this. Oh, thank you, PB. I hate when I. Okay, yeah, the screen automatically locks. So hold on. It's you
Uh-oh.
on here.
That's okay. It happened.
So. Kermit, it is approximately 7:44, and you go and do that, buddy. I'll never stop a frog in his work. So we were talking about our Star Wars experiences. She is a fan of Empire Strikes Back. She is an Empire Strikes Back fan, and
Big time.
that is her actual favorite movie. I said I'm more of a New Hope guy, but that was the first one I watched on Laserdisc. Yes, I said Laserdisc. So, um, you know, and I could tell you're a guest because um, I normally focus on me because I'm vain, but tonight I'm going to keep the camera trained on you because for some reason I have a locked view on my computer screen. It doesn't switch back and forth. So
That's weird. Okay, that's fine.
go ahead and put your YouTube channel down in the chat below so that people who are not sub to you will
Okay.
be sub to you. And to continue our talk, you said you name drop Knights of the Old Republic. That was like my love. And I love how you put in Darth Nihilus and Malik and Revan, all of them as a top
Yeah.
Sith.
Revan's a badass. I love him.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, hands down. And this is gonna bring me the sad news coming in this discussion because I want to get your feelings on it. I feel as if you are definitely a Star Wars fan,
Oh yeah,
uh,
big time.
and you saw bits and pieces of The Force Awakens. So now, did you catch the Abomination, the greatest piece of work by the man who is extraordinary talent in Hollywood, the greatest director of all time, Rian Johnson? Did you see his masterpiece, The Last Jedi?
Yes, I did.
And I just, before I get your feelings on this, I want to know not exactly how angry you were, but because I've talked about this with everyone, I consider this like a study because what I was thinking, and I'll tell you what my reaction was later. But I want to know just your initial reaction when you walked out of the theater. What was the first thing that came to your mind?
Why did Luke have to die? And why did he die the way he did? He died for absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
He goes out, excuse my French, like a bitch, like a coward. He sits there and just dies, and I'm like, what the excuse my French, hell? Like, what the hell?
Trust me, we've said worse on my channel, but I didn't age restrict it, so I appreciate the blurting it out. Normally, I age restrict these things, but not for Lee Talks because I have a wider audience that watches this. But hell and bitch is okay on here. Me and PB have ranted on Game of Thrones, but yeah. My first initial thoughts when I came out of the theater, and I've told this story before to a couple of people on different channels, and I said my initial reaction is, I went into the theater, I was excited, I went with 4 other friends. I need new friends because yes, PB, he died from floating. Don't float. So my initial reactions. And I'll take you through the beginning. We walk in, we get the popcorn. I got my Twizzlers, my milk duds. I'm jazzed up, ready to go, right? Super excited. And it's worse than any other movie that I have watched in the history of movies because it is like watching a slow train wreck.
Yeah.
The beginning, I'm like, still hyped up. I'm off The Force Awakens. So I'm like, all right, let's see what this creative genius is. And as we go through, I get more and more like, okay, what's going on? Oh no, this is getting worse. What the hell is this decision? Why are we on this planet? What's going on here? And so by the time I get to the end of it, I walk out and me and my friends are dead silent. The whole movie theater was dead silent. We walk out, we all collectively look at each other and we go, what the did we just watch? Because that wasn't Star Wars.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know what that was, but it damn sure wasn't a Star Wars movie that I just watched. It was something that had Star Wars on it. It had the label.
Yeah.
But that was not Star Wars I watched. That was I don't even know what that crap was.
Yeah, it was pure garbage is what it was.
Oh yeah. It was definitely garbage of the highest order.
Yeah.
So when I do these, I normally have like talking points and things like that, but I've never actually done an interview with anyone. So I'm just kind of winging it here, like I always wind up doing here on my channel.
Right. That's fine.
So I'm gonna stick with Star Wars, and I'm just gonna go. We've had a couple of developments now coming off of the damage that the Last Jedi did, and all the things. Well, first, clearly your first thoughts was Luke Skywalker died. You didn't like how that was done, and I know this is really a tough question to ask, but was there any part of the movie you did like?
The only part I liked about it was that Yoda showed up. That's the only part I liked. I was glad that Yoda, but the one thing that ticked me off was that he said that failure was okay. Since when is failure for a Jedi okay? Jedi never fail. Except, well, they do, but, it's like, okay, so Obi-Wan failed in training Anakin. Qui-Gon failed because, he was killed off by Darth Maul. Yoda's even failed. But, and a lot of the mistakes that Luke has made, gosh, I can't recall. He made the mistake of not completing his training when Yoda said for him. His biggest mistake was facing Vader when he was not ready. He got his ass kicked, excuse my French. He got his ass kicked by Vader. And Yoda told him, even Obi-Wan told him, you're not ready. And he didn't listen to him, right? And so, sorry, hold on. Got a dog trying to climb up on my bed here. Ew, too big. But, Luke failed in listening to Yoda and Obi-Wan. and instead of listening and completing his training, he was arrogant and fought Vader by himself. When Obi-Wan tells him, "If you choose to face Vader, you will do it alone. I cannot interfere." And what was that? What was that? Oh yeah, Yoda says after Luke came out of the cave, after he had seen the Force vision of fighting Vader, he said, "That is why you fail. So if you fail, you get back up and you continue fighting." But instead, Yoda tells him that failure is okay. After was it Yoda that set fire? Yeah, Yoda set fire to the Jedi archives. Yeah. And he tells Luke, failure is okay. Yoda is a master Jedi, and he never has said once that failure is okay.
Yeah. Why
would he contradict that?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, there's a saying that I love. I can't remember what exactly movie it's from, but it's like, do or do not, there is no try.
Yes.
He was very like on that fence, like you're either going to do it or you won't, kind of a thing, which I understand. And Kermit
Right.
the Law posed a good question for you here. If you could kill one person in the Star Wars universe with your hands, who would it be? Or are you a Jedi?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
My thing is, I could tell you right now, if I could off one person, it wouldn't be a Star Wars character. It would be either Ryan Johnson or Kathleen Kennedy. I'd probably have to go Kathleen Kennedy because she's controlling the show. So just FYI. Anyways, so yeah, the inconsistencies of Yoda and that whole scene were pretty glaring, which is pretty much the highlight of this movie. So, and I gotta say for myself, I didn't like much of the movie. I'm trying to think of, because I've only ever seen that movie once. It's been on Netflix and other stuff, and I'd never watched it after the theater. But if I had to choose a part, I kind of liked the ending when all of Kylo Ren's troops shoot at Luke, and they say, you see him and you're thinking that maybe he's such a powerful Jedi, he deflected all of those lasers. But then Ryan Johnson in the same scene screws it all up by giving it away to us that he's forced projecting on the island, that he never left the island. And this is the problem with the movie. It contradicts itself a lot of different areas. And it's like, it's like they very much in this movie, they take one step forward and they take like 3 steps back.
Yeah.
And it is just kind of crazy to me. I don't really understand what the goal was, what they were trying to do with it.
Right.
But, I really feel like they actually weren't trying to do anything with it. They were just, I don't know. He was doing his own thing. He was making his own story.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
So, now here's the really loaded question. Did you, seeing as too, we hang around the same circles, geeks and gamers, things like that. Did you catch any of the things from Star Wars Celebration?
Yes, I did. I seen some of the. I didn't actually go because I can't afford it, but I did see some of the. I did see the live stream. I did see a live stream off of YouTube. I don't remember which YouTuber it was, but I seen that they created a new droid, which I rolled I rolled my eyes hard at. Yeah. And then I seen the trailer, and I was like, when Rey flips over that TIE fighter, I'm like, oh my god, please, not again.
Yeah, we all pretty much collectively felt the same way.
Yeah, she's like, she leaps over a freaking, it's like okay, like since when? Ugh. I swear, in TFA, and then in TFA she picks up a lightsaber, and then she has this force vision about the saber or whatever, and it basically connects to her, and I'm like, since when is a lightsaber supposed to give you a force vision? And how are you supposed to a foreign object? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it was, that trailer was a bunch of nonsense, at least to me.
Yeah.
Everyone is giving it leeway. No pun intended. Um, I, I don't know. I've also heard a lot of people say, you fooled me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Yep.
I don't see anything in that trailer that makes me excited. Now, I do work at the movies, so I get to see things for free. So I'll go and see it because I'm not paying any money for it. But as someone who would be a consumer, would you be excited to go see this new epic masterpiece, the end of the Skywalker trilogy, but the rise of the Skywalkers?
No, because I feel that they're talking about Rey. They're not talking about Luke. They're not talking about him. They're talking about Rey. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Rey's not
So
a
do you think Rey is going to be a Skywalker?
It almost seems that way, but I'm just hoping not. I mean, I don't really like the idea. I don't even like the idea of her being a solo. Because, Han is a very iconic character along with Luke, Vader, and Leia. And even Chewie and, C-3PO and R2-D2. And, those are all iconic characters. But when they want to make a completely new character that's not even lore friendly, push her, shove her into our throats, basically, force her into the fandom, it's like, why even bother, watching this new film? I mean, we lost Carrie Fisher, we lost Kenny Baker, we just recently lost Peter Mayhew. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's like, why even, why even bother? I mean, it's just, I was really wanting the original cast back, and I can definitely say, Mark Hamill was, he was wanting that as well, because when he posted that picture that Steven made, I can't remember the guy's last name. Sorry about that. I'm not really good with names. I'm good with faces, but not names. He made a perfect picture of the original cast, and so a lot of people were upset about the fact that he made and that Mark had retweeted it, and it's like, that's what Mark wanted. That's what everyone wanted, except for the SJWs who support the new trilogy, and it's like, if the original trilogy is not for you, then it's not for you. I mean, if you guys want to support the new trilogy, go right ahead, but leave, the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy to the true fans, instead of, saying that, the sequel trilogy isn't for Luke or for Leia or whatever. I mean,
Which is the most asinine statement, because they say, oh, it's not for so and so, and it's not for this, and it's not for that. But here's the thing: the new sequel trilogy, it wasn't for old fans. The SJWs, they don't buy these products. They interject their politics and they talk crap, but they aren't spending money for it.
I know.
So clearly they're not endorsing it. So who the hell is this new trilogy for? It's for the ego of Rian Johnson, as far as I'm concerned, because nothing signifies it was bad on a Star Wars fan basis. It was bad on a movie basis. The movie was just a bad movie in general. So,
Exactly.
I want to know who the hell is this movie for? Because clearly I'm coming under the impression that it's not for anyone. That it's just this movie is just uh, hyped up as this masterpiece that is just for the creative mind, the Hollywood think tank, the elites that think that this is the kind of crap that we want
Yeah.
in our media. And getting back to Celebration, I don't know if you watched the videos, but I watched this thing and I shared it with some people within our community.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched this video on Celebration where that Star Wars girl saw a little girl dressed like Ahsoka, and she went up to her and she like, "Oh, that's a great costume, and you look just like Ahsoka." And the little girl went up to her and goes, "Who?" Right? And they had a whole panel of people. Now, this is for the episode 9
Mm-hmm.
trailer panel. They had a bunch of people in there who knew nothing about Star Wars, because when the Emperor laughs at the end and then he comes out on stage, she said when she came out and she was listening to what people were saying, they had a bunch of these people who were in the panel going, "Who was that?" And it's like, how do you not know the most iconic bad guy
Yeah,
in all of Star
McDonald.
Wars? That's what they're catering to. They don't even know the material.
That's just proof that they're not even paying attention to the actors who portrayed, great characters.
I watched Abunas, and he gave quite possibly the most heart-tugging, uh, in-depth feeling about Peter Mayhew and him passing away and things like that, and how he has been a staple in Star Wars, and how he's going to miss him and all of this.
Yeah.
And I have not seen one of these people or the company or anyone come out and fucking acknowledge that whatsoever. It's been just like, as far as I've seen, it's been just us YouTubers, and I don't watch regular news. So maybe they had
Same
something
here. I don't watch news either.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything or heard anything about it. And it's like, this man played Chewbacca for like ever.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He is Chewie.
Yes.
And like the company, Disney in general, and
Yeah.
I don't even call it Lucasfilms. I call it Disney Films now. Is just disgusting what they've done
I know.
to this whole franchise, to the legacy that had been established for years.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your feelings about someone coming out of a panel and not even knowing who the freaking Emperor is?
Okay, like, where have you been? Like, have you been living under a rock or something? That's what I would say. I mean, I'm 24 years old, and I even know who the actor's name is. I mean, a 24-year-old probably wouldn't know about that. But see, I've researched a lot of stuff into Star Wars. I know the actors' names, at least the original actors. I know which part they played. I've known about this stuff for years. I mean, because I was introduced to the trilogy when I was 4, and I grew up with the prequels. So yes, eventually I did know their names, and it's like, who in the heck would not know who Ian McDiarmid is? God.
Yeah, it astonishes me. And
Yeah.
I was watching your video, and I think it was one on one of the comic books that had to do with Vader.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could tell you were pretty passionate about the stuff, and that's what this community is built on, is our passions of the things that we love.
I have a bust of Darth Vader right here.
Ah, there he is, the man himself.
Yeah. I have a whole bunch of Darth Vader stuff. Well, not a lot, but I mean quite a few pieces. I love Darth Vader. He's my Before I started liking Darth Vader, though, Jar Jar was my first. because I seen the Phantom Menace, and of course I fell in love with Jar Jar. But then after that, because my parents had just moved to Florida, and my dad, moved up because he did purchase the original trilogy on VHS, so I did see the VHS versions of Star Wars, but very, very, very faint to me because I don't really remember that. Um, but as soon as we moved from Michigan to Florida, I got to see them again, and when Vader first walked into the scene, I absolutely fell in love with him. Fell in love with the character because Vader is so mysterious. So, how do I explain it? I wanted to know more about him. I wanted to know, what he was. Cause I didn't, it's like, why does he look like that? My first thoughts about Vader were like, what is he? Why does he look like that? Why does he breathe like that? So yes, in my middle school years, when I was probably like 12, maybe, I started researching on the character, finding out what Vader was, how his suit worked. Um, I even got a blueprint over here of how. Wait, I'm sorry, that's not it. That's the blasters and lightsabers blueprint. I've got a blueprint over this in this area of Darth Vader. I even have like C-3PO, R2-D2, the Death Star, and Millennium Falcon. But I even studied that. I even studied online before Disney destroyed the EU and canon. Um, Unfortunately, I researched more Vader than I did anything else, but I have a lot of knowledge about the character that probably some people like. If you weren't an avid Darth Vader fan, then you probably wouldn't know half the stuff I know. But if you are, then yeah, you would probably know some of the stuff that I know. But I enjoy the character so much because his story is so tragic. It's very interesting. And I have to say, his story is the most tragic of all the characters. But I still like the other characters equally. But Vader is definitely my favorite. So, I mean,
Yes. My favorite would have to be Boba Fett.
Boba.
Everyone says that it's a weird one because he has a short amount of time, but I dig more into his lore. I liked him in the uh, the the Empire Rises, I believe was the book
Empire
when he
Strikes
came
Back.
back. Yeah. And I liked him in uh, the Jedi Academy with the Next Generation, and he had a role in that too. I always loved Boba Fett because he is such a BA bounty hunter,
Yes, yeah.
and
I like him too. He's awesome.
oh yeah, yeah, I love the slave one, and like I like the design and everything of that ship. So
Yeah. Yeah, he's an awesome bounty hunter. I like him too. He's a Mandalorian, which is interesting. And his backstory is pretty cool too. It's just, I think though his backstory has been ruined by Disney because I think they actually explained his backstory in Clone Wars. So
yes, yes, I am an avid fan of the Clone Wars. So
well, I need to watch Clone Wars.
uh, me and another person who I don't know where he's at, but when he hears me talk about Clone Wars, his ears are probably ringing. But Prime Geek, he's more on the EU side, but we've had quite spirited debates over the Clone Wars. He feels like the Clone Wars wrecked the continuity of the EU. He's got some valid points. He's talking from like the really old school stuff, and he knows a lot of in-depth stuff. But he's a good guy. But we've debated about it. Speaking of which, getting back to Celebration,
Mm-hmm.
uh, all of the crap that was in Celebration, and I call it crap because from what I seen, did not see anything that represented what Star Wars was. There was a lot of merchandising and things like that. And then the panels were picked at lottery. So even if you brought a ticket, you had to be put into a lottery to be in the panel you wanted to get into. If you had the opportunity to be there, what was the panel that most interested you? They had the episode 9 one. They had the one with Dave Filoni. They
Yeah,
had,
the Mandalorian, right?
yeah, the Mandalorian and the trailer for Clone Wars season 7, which I would have killed someone to get into that.
Yeah. Hold on a second. I gotta put my tablet on charge. It's kind of on me.
Not a problem. You should see when I'm on, and I'm on my cell phone because I'm driving quite often. People tell you I'm like always charging this thing like constantly.
Yeah.
In fact, I should probably charge my cell phone right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, out of all the stuff that was in Celebration, what do you feel like if you would have been there would have interested you? Because I got to be honest with you, for the price of what the tickets were, I didn't see anything that made me go, oh my goodness, that's like, that stands out for me. It looked like very meh.
Yeah. Probably the Mandalorian, but that's the only thing I would be interested in.
Yeah, a lot of people said that. The Mandalorian looked good. I was on board for Clone Wars, considering they're focusing on
Clone Wars too.
Ahsoka.
Yeah, I would be interested in Clone Wars as well. So yeah, probably Mandalorian and Clone Wars would be something for me because that's the only thing I would look forward to, anyways.
Yeah, the buzz around episode 9 is just so great. So many people are looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Like at this point, I think Star Wars fans are all either they don't want to see it, either they'll see it but they don't really care.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, it's just a very lukewarm thing. I feel like everything that they're putting in now is it's just to be like, oh, look at this, we got this, coming. Come watch, episode 9. Don't you remember how much you love Star Wars? And that's the thing. We were talking about their use of nostalgia, and when I looked,
Mara.
all I saw was them doing the same thing they did for The Force Awakens and Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Is they're using our nostalgia to lure us in. And how do you feel about them playing off of these things that we like and trying to basically trick us into coming and seeing their movies?
Yeah, because someone interviewed Kathleen Kennedy at Celebration. Mara, quiet.
Look at that puppy.
Yeah, this is one of my dogs. Mara, all right, Mara. And there's Bindi. Come on, get out of the way. Good girl. But someone interviewed Kathleen Kennedy at Celebration, and someone had asked her what the meaning behind the title for episode 9 was, and she said it didn't mean a thing. And I'm like, I knew it because I knew the title wasn't going to mean anything. I mean, they just want to hook us in, they want to reel us in, and just like, oh, well, you like this. Like, baloney. I mean, I know they're going to screw us over again, so I mean, I'm just not interested, I know what's going to happen. They're just gonna mess up again.
I think that's the general feeling. And I mean, I've never had a problem with J.J. Abrams. I think a lot of his stuff is a hit or miss.
Right.
But I can honestly say I wasn't upset as I was coming out of Force Awakens. Force Awakens, I was just kind of curious as to where they were going to go.
Yeah.
Jedi, I came out and I wanted to punch someone in the face because I was so angry.
Yeah.
So, I think there is a huge difference in the feelings between those films.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's to a point where people are saying, who cares, who cares about the new Star Wars? And it's sad because if you rewind the clocks back to when Force Awakens came out, it was highly anticipated. The feeling was People were feeling jazzed up about what they were going to do with it. There was
Yeah.
so much hype around The Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker coming back. It was like a must-see for everyone.
Yeah.
And now it's like dead. Now it's like when they announced Solo, no one gave a crap.
Yeah, it's like, oh, geez, here we go again. Yeah, that's how I felt.
And I got to be honest with you, to this day, I still haven't seen Solo. I've heard things that have made me want to intentionally not see that movie. Like one of my favorite characters as well,
Yeah.
Han and Lando. I always like Lando more.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why everyone leaned toward Han Solo. I always thought Lando was like smooth and charismatic.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
he loves freaking robots, and they just destroy it for me. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
into a panda, which is gross.
well, and it was like, what does this have to do with the movie? I don't care what his orientation is and what he leans towards or that he likes robots. How
Yeah.
does this advance the plot of the film?
Mm-hmm.
It-
Yeah.
Kermit, it's true. It is better than The Last Jedi, but if we're going by that, pretty much anything is better than The Last Jedi. So we can't really measure the success of another Star Wars movie
Yeah.
based on The Last Jedi because The Last Jedi is a terrible film.
Exactly. I agree with you. I agree with you. I mean, it's bad. It's not as bad as The Last Jedi, but it's pretty close. So, it's really close. Sorry, I think just my. But I mean, I wasn't as angry with it as The Last Jedi. I actually, when I got done watching The Last Jedi, I watched all the original trilogy again because I'm like, forget about The Last Jedi. I wanted to get it out of my head. I mean, I just wanted to rewatch all of the original three trilogy to get it out of my head. Just forget The Last Jedi. I did forget most of it, but the one scene I never forgot was when Luke died.
I
And
think none of us will forget most of the scenes. One scene that stuck out with me was my future wife, Rose Tico.
mm-hmm.
No, I like her in a comical way, like as in like to make fun of her.
Yeah.
Maria Tran is a great, wonderful person in real life, and I feel really bad that she played the worst character in the history of probably Star Wars. Like she made it. She made Jar Jar's character, who at that time, and I know you like Jar Jar, but he wasn't a very liked character at all. And now looking back on it, I'd have dealt with all of Jar Jar's roles as opposed to Rose Tico because
Yeah.
she served literally no point to the. It was just like who shocks people who are trying to get off of an exploding ship. Like it was stuff like that in the movie that didn't make sense. So the ship is blowing up,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna tase people who are trying to get off of the ship.
Yeah.
Up. Why? Like, what was the point of that? How did that scene add to the story?
Exactly. It didn't.
It's like, oh, Finn got tased. Like, and then the biggest egregious mistake in the whole film, Finn has been useless up to the point where he has a purpose to drive into that giant laser and save everyone on the base. And what does Rose Tico do? She runs right into his freaking ship and she says, "We've got to fight them with love." And it's like, what are you saying, Ryan Johnson? It's okay to blow up a base and kill a bunch of people as long as you fight the Empire with love? Like, what the hell was the message of the movie?
Exactly.
What message were you conveying? What
Yeah.
was 2 freaking hours I lost of my life were you trying to tell me?
Yeah.
Like, it was a hodgepodge of bullcrap.
Yeah. Yep. It's like, no, you gotta fight for freedom and what you believe in. You know, fight.
Exactly.
That's what Rebellion did. They fought for freedom of the galaxy because the Emperor had control of it for over 20 years.
Yeah. That, and that's the thing that gets me. I think the thing that gets everyone is these inconsistencies in the storytelling, and even inconsistencies within the structure of the film itself that doesn't make sense. The movie contradicts itself
Yeah.
a lot of the ways through the film, and you're just sitting there going, well, what are, every time it's just like jumping from scene to scene, and it's like, what does this have to do with this? And and if you sit there and try to connect it, because if you see my channel, I do critiques more
Mhm.
right now. And when I'm critiquing something, I like to say, what does this add to the movie? And it doesn't. It adds absolutely nothing. And that was like 90% of the movie was just nothing. There
Yeah.
was nothing, and it, as a matter of fact, destroyed its own principles and things that it set out. So it was a pointless exercise. It was a waste of time. It was 2 hours of my life I'll never get back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a waste of money, it was a waste of time.
And I want to give out a shout out to 19K Fox. Thank you for coming in. I am talking with Shaak Skywalker's Jedi Academy. She has an awesome channel. She's up there in the chat, and there's a link. If you're not linked to her, please sub to her, because she is awesome. And we are talking about our feelings on Star Wars celebration and everything else that went down in that mess. Now, I heard something interesting. They had speed dating, gay speed dating at Star Wars. Now, I'm not someone who judges anyone for things like that. I go, do you kind of a deal, but what does that have to do with Star Wars? Why do we have a whole panel? Why do we have a shipping panel at
Yeah,
Star Wars?
that was gross.
Like,
Raylo.
it's like, what does this add to the lore? I mean,
Exactly.
these people are stupid saying, oh, you're small-minded and blah, blah, blah. I'm not small-minded. I'm a fan. I want to know what this has to do with
Yeah,
Star Wars and the
do with
story.
Star Wars. It has nothing to do with it. It's like if you want to ship a character, like ship Han and Leia or ship Anakin Padme. I have to say, Han and Leia were the best Star Wars couple, and of course, Anakin and Padme were a close second. I love both. Hey, you guys, quiet, quiet.
And 19K Fox, sorry to interrupt, 19K Fox, speed dating has nothing to do with Star Wars whatsoever. Not a damn thing, nothing at all. It was a useless thing that Disney threw. And it felt like it to me that Disney was just throwing a bunch of stuff in their celebration. Time Geek told me that they used to have displays in celebration when they would carve from wood, like different figures from Star Wars. Now, how cool is stuff like that? They carve you things, you go and buy merchandise. There would be panels that you didn't have to win a lottery for.
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, same here. I don't get it either.
So we talked about the Star Wars. I heard you mention something, and anyone who's been on my channel knows this is a hot button for me. I don't know if you've seen my other videos, but I have a rant video about this person, and I'm a big, probably more than a Star Wars fan, I'm a big fan of the MCU.
Yes.
And the number one person that I hate more than probably anyone on Earth right now is Brie Larson. I hate her.
Oh,
Oh my God, I hate her so much that I
dude, me
put
both.
into words.
I hate her guts.
And now, why I'm bringing this up whilst we're talking about Star Wars is because over at the MCU side, we've seen a similar thing that destroyed your guys' franchise with the, as you were saying earlier, with the SJW movement and just coming in and interjecting BS into it. So I want to say, before we dive into the MCU, do you have any particular movies that you've seen from there? Anything that you know of that you like, that you've watched?
My very first MCU movie was No, she's not. Anyway, my very first
That I thought ITK. Crazy, buddy.
my very first MCU movie was Spider-Man. The very first one. I actually saw that in theaters in 1999. I was 4 at the time. And I remember
Right?
but my dad and my mom went to a drive-in theater. That was the very first time I was in a drive-in theater. I was only in a drive-in theater once though. But yeah, we got to see Spider-Man in theater at one point. And of course after that, my dad had bought the DVD, and that was my very first MCU movie that I really liked. And then of course Iron Man came out. And oh my gosh, I absolutely fell in love with Tony Stark, the character who plays Iron Man. Um, and I love how he, built his suit, and a lot of the advanced technology that was involved with making the suit was it was epic. Of course, I've never really read any of the comics. My mom, on the other hand, has. I mean, I did read some Spidey comics when I was younger. When my grandparents were still in Florida, my grandparents would get something in the mail, and it would get the Sunday paper, and I think every Sunday or every other Sunday, there would always be a Spider-Man comic that come in the mail. Of course, my brother would read it, but then I would see it laying on the ground. I'd pick it up, and I read a few of them. I don't remember which ones I read, but I did read them. They were pretty good. So, and they were the old classic. I think like 1960s, maybe 1970s comics. So it was pretty cool.
Okay. I have been a diehard MCU fan for the longest. I actually come from the comic side, and I have to say that I have been a fan. I was never a fan of Thor. I caught flack for that. He's just never my guy. But my one is Captain America.
You like Captain America? Cool.
Yeah, I've loved Captain America for the longest, and so I followed that epic journey for almost I want to say about God, since the first Iron Man came out. It's been a couple of years now, and I've followed it all the way up to its end. And then Captain freaking Marvel came out, and now I'm a comic book reader, and I already knew where this was going. Captain Marvel is notoriously a SJW comic book.
Yes.
It's actually been rebooted 9 times, which most people don't know. 9 times.
9 times.
Oh, yeah. Between the late 80s, early 90s, it's had a ton of reboots. This new incarnation has never sold. And everything that they did with Brie Larson's character is actually the SJW Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
That no one freaking liked, no one freaking asked for. There was no one in a comic book store going, you know what I want? I want to see Carol Danvers on the big screen. No one said that. You know what? No one knew who the hell she was.
No one wished it. I mean, hell, I didn't even know who that was. I'm like, who the hell is Carol Danvers? And it's like, my mom, she knows of the original Captain Marvel. So, I mean, that was a male. So.
Yeah, the original Captain Marvel was Captain Marvel. And then after that, the one who took his power was an African American Captain Marvel named Monica Rambeau, who ran from the 80s into the 90s. And then in the 90s, Miss Marvel, who was Carol Danvers, inherited her powers and became the new Captain Marvel because she was dying. And then she kind of took the torch. But they skipped all the way up to the crappiest incarnation of Captain Marvel, and they put that freaking mess on the screen. Now, it all circles back to the Star Wars angle.
Yeah.
This has been a problem, and I'm glad that you mentioned it because you were talking about the SJWs, and this has been a problem that's been infecting various media, right down to video games. And
Yes.
it's this thing where they think we want all of this garbage that they're putting, and it's destroyed Star Wars.
Mhm.
That whole thing with Last Jedi was all diversity and no story. It was, let's put a bunch of crap ass characters that no one cares about, push
Yeah.
the old characters out of the way, and then force these new characters. And now I see the same thing in Marvel, and it really ticked me off because
Yeah.
Marvel, Kevin Feige was at least smart. And before he went and did his deal with Captain Marvel, he built up a big enough fan base to where we don't have the same kind of power that you guys had over the box office,
Yeah.
where he didn't upset as many normal people. But
Right.
did you get a chance to see the Avengers Endgame?
No, but my mom did. She saw it off of an app. For her phone. I did catch the last scene of it where Tony Stark died, and I was shattered. I was pretty upset.
Yeah, there was a lot of things in that film. At first, I gave it a 10, but that was coming off of like a Marvel fan. After
Yeah.
I analyzed the movie, I dropped it to about a 7.
Okay.
Visually, it's good. Story-wise, it's good at the beginning, and then some stuff happens, and it becomes very uneven. And continuity-wise, it kind of breaks things. And I hear Spider-Man Far From Home is supposed to elaborate on it, but it's like
Yeah.
I
I've seen
didn't really want that. But this is a condition that's going to get more into media because with the success of Captain Marvel doing $1 billion, which my God, I can't believe I sold the tickets for that crap and literally watched Brie Larson get to $1 billion. It's gonna be like they're talking now reboots with nothing but female-led characters and diverse characters. And I want to get your take. What do you think? And as part of the female persuasion, are you excited that Hollywood is throwing in all of these random female characters into movies and propping them up and saying that, basically saying males suck, we're all evil and part of the patriarch,
Yeah.
and oppressing the women around the world?
I am not excited. I mean, now that Captain Marvel has come out, I mean, I fear now for the MCU. I mean, it's now that Stan Lee has passed away. I mean, that gave Disney the okay to now screw up Marvel because um, they have the opportunity now to screw it up. I mean, they even I'm not against black people here, but they even gave SJWs a black Spider-Man. Um I remember hearing about the news of Stanley passing away, and a lot of SJWs were shunning him because they were upset because he didn't make Peter Parker black, and I'm like, hello, Stanley created Peter Parker. He was white in the beginning. He's not going to change him. I mean, why would Stanley change him now? Peter Parker's been around for a very long time, and why would he want to make the character black? And then they come out with someone named Miles. I can't remember the last name.
Now, Miles Morales was a character that was established. He's more of a Hispanic mix, mixed character. Miles, I didn't mind in the Spider-Verse, and I'll tell you why. Because he does have a comic book run that was not necessarily under Stan Lee, but was okayed. He was part of a different continuity, and like, here's my thing. I don't mind them having a Miles Morales in there. I thought that in the movie Into the Spider-Verse, he was an interesting character, and that was good. What I don't like is the changing the race, gender, or whatever just to change it. It should be no matter if it's male, female, black, white, as long as the character is good. And here's the problem we're getting. The characters aren't good.
Yeah.
They're swapping them out, and the people aren't playing the characters well.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're doing just like with Captain Marvel when they changed Marvel to a female. There was no need to do that.
Yeah. I seen that, and I'm like, I seen the movie myself, but I seen it off of an app. I can't afford to go to a theater. I don't even have a movie theater near me. I live actually 45 minutes away from a movie theater.
Oh goodness.
Yeah. And I mean, it would be a waste of 45 minutes to drive there and back. So, I mean, I saw it off of an app. My mom said she wanted to see it to see how bad it was. And so I decided I'm going to watch it. I'm going to find out. And it was the worst hour and 15 minutes I've ever gone through. I mean, the first part of it, like the first 15 minutes, you don't even know what's going on. You're not even, it's like, you don't even know what's going on in the movie. It's like, what the hell is going on? Pardon me, I hate to cuss, but it's like, what the heck? Like, what is going on?
It was, for me, the first part of the movie didn't bother me. It was more of the middle and the ending, especially with
The ending bothered me too.
What's that?
The ending bothered me as well.
Yeah, with like it. I don't know. It was the thing that bothered me the most is it wouldn't have been such a terrible movie, but once again, there were bad choices made within the film that dragged it down. And this is a condition that even you guys at Star Wars have had. Poor choices in your movie has screwed up the franchise. I like to say that The Last Jedi broke the Star Wars. It literally broke the Star Wars universe.
Yeah,
Like beyond repair.
Yeah.
Johnson retconned and just took liberties with so much stuff that destroyed continuity within the new franchise that made no sense to do.
Exactly.
Whatsoever. So I saw that you were doing a review on the Vader comic book, and what? So you like the different comics, or was it just that one, or have you read multiple Dark Horse?
I don't think I have. I haven't read any of the comics. I did, however, find one. I think it was like, was it Dark Forces? The very first one when they made Vader into a hero, and I'm like, hello? Darth Vader's not a hero, he's a villain.
Was this a newer comic or an older one?
This is one of the newer comics. They were supposed to be written by Chuck Wendig, but Chuck Wendig expired. Yeah, I hate him. He's an ass. Ow.
Same very day I came back.
So when you read it, what were your thoughts?
By myself.
I was disgusted.
I cannot do it.
But I love the ending of it.
For the last 8 years.
So what was the comic about?
The comic was so it's about a female nurse that's in the Imperial yeah. I'm thinking the Imperial Navy or whatever. And she's she's supposed to, I guess, tend to Vader, after his battles. And so the comic book reader finds out that she's in love with Vader. And I'm like, this is every bit wrong, because Vader had only one true love, and that was Padme. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think at one point in the comic, Vader is strapped to the operating table and she fangirls, and I'm like, why would you fangirl over operating on Vader? I mean, you'd pretty much be asking for a funeral at that point, because Vader could just snap like that. He could, and he does snap in the comic. He ends up throwing the guy halfway across the room. Mom? One of the, I guess it was the doctor that was working on him. He actually ends up throwing the doctor halfway across the room. And of course the guy's okay after that. And then we see her in the comic daydreaming about Vader falling in love with her. She throws herself upon his body, and I'm like, this is disgusting. Why would a nurse daydream about falling in love with? And the funny thing is that she found Vader's intimidation and malevolence attractive, and I'm like, what?
That's weird. It sounds like a weird comic book.
Oh my god, it was weird as frig. I mean, I'm like sitting here with my mouth open. I'm like, oh my god. So after that, it gets even worse. It gets even worse. I found out when I got further into the comic, I found out that she ended up collecting some of Vader's skin cells in his blood from different operations.
Okay.
She is obsessed with Vader that she's willing to collect skin cells and blood. It's like, that is dead skin from a man who suffered 4th-degree burns on Mustafar, and you're gonna collect them? That is gross.
Why are
Gross.
you collecting?
Mara, shush.
Mara, stop it.
Sorry, my dogs are barking. What did you say?
I was saying, why did Kermit? Why was she collecting these dead cells?
She was
You have a
obsessed with it.
purpose?
She was obsessed because she was in love with Vader. Like, oh my god, I can't even really describe it.
So what wound up happening? Did he kill her? Or?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. That was the best.
Goes into
Well, that sounds like a Lord Vader ending.
yeah. She goes into Vader's meditation chamber, and of course the meditation chamber is open. She goes in and peeks in and sees Vader unmasked. And it's like, we all know what Vader looks like without his mask on. It doesn't look very pretty. Of course, I have to say Vader looks a lot better than the Emperor, because the Emperor's butt ugly, but trying to have a damn, you just knocked my battery out, you silly dog. Anyway, she peeps inside of Vader's meditation chamber, and she gets a glimpse of Vader's face. And of course she's like, oh god, what did she say? I think she said something like,
Oh, you're so beautiful.
your face is so beautiful. And I'm like, any woman who saw something like that would run with their tail tucked beneath their legs and scream. And then she says that they'll be together before she can finish her sentence, Vader runs her through with his lightsaber through the chest.
That's
Bammo!
best part of the whole story.
Best part of the comic, to be honest. And then I heard on Twitter that SJWs were complaining that, Vader killed the woman. And I'm like, Vader would do that to anybody. It doesn't matter. For crying out loud, he killed younglings. Oh my god.
Hello, Vader.
It's Vader.
No, not
Vader would kill literally anybody.
some pansy version of
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a very mildly disturbing comic book.
Yeah, it was extremely. Cause see, I'm gonna admit that I am obsessed with Vader, but I have more of a fascination obsession. I'm fascinated with the character because the character has a great story arc, and a lot of the stuff that I've learned is fascinating because I really wanted to learn how the suit worked and everything like that. And
That's pretty cool.
it's interesting. It's interesting stuff. A lot of lore, and you know you don't get me wrong, I love how the suit looks and everything. It looks so cool because I love how the way George Lucas designed it. But when you go out of to the ends of the earth to try to seduce Vader, no, 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 no. That's a big no-no for you because Vader only loved one person, that was Padme, and
So that sounds like definitely the new comic books. That's why I've stopped getting comics altogether. The
yeah,
and direction
yeah.
is just dead. I don't know if you knew about what's going on in the comic book industry, but the SJWs have destroyed a lot of the big providers of comic books with their politics and their nonsense. And a lot of big companies have gone bankrupt,
Oh,
and it's all of this like crazy writing,
yeah.
like stories like that. It's like, well, that doesn't add anything to the character. That's just a weird
Yeah.
out of out of place story.
Yeah, do you remember a movie from Stephen what was it? Stephen King called Misery?
Yes.
That's what that comic seems like. That comic reminded me of the movie Misery. I'm
only
joking. I'm
only
not joking
Baby
at all. It
stabbed
reminds
at the end
huh?
with a lightsaber.
Yeah. Oh my god. It was like ugh. Yeah, I mean I was disgusted personally to, read it. I'm like, oh my god, this is just nasty. It's very
It reminds me of the fascination that the SJWs have with Raylo.
Raylo. Yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, the Raylo thing. That
Yeah, oh my god.
Yeah.
Sick people.
Very, very disturbing material.
Mhm.
I know you know Stephanie Genesek, don't you?
uh no.
You don't know Stephanie? Darn it. Um, well, she come out. Well, yeah, Stephanie's awesome, but she come out with a video I think a while back, and she was talking about Raylos, and she put a link in the description talking about it was a website where a lot of Raylos went to talk about Ray and Kylo. Gonna be PG here, but they were let's just say they were making out, and I'm like, oh god. Ugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that part of the Star Wars, and especially guys, girls, whatever else, part of it is that whole thing. I've had a thing for Ahsoka, honestly. That's right. I said it here on the channel. I ship Ahsoka. But anyways, no. It's part of the thing, of imagining two characters. People have always had their thing, Han and Luke, or not Han and Luke, Han and Leia. There we go. Oh, that'd be scary. Han and Luke. Ugh.
That'd be really weird, yeah.
But and I think that is part of fan wishing. But when you take it to a point where you're attacking people who don't like the view that you're setting, or
Yeah.
when you're trying to make it as part of a panel and a convention, I
Yeah.
think that's where you're taking it too far. I mean, it's okay if you have those things where you're like, oh, I'd like to see this and this character together. Everyone has that kind of stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, that's part of movies.
Yeah.
Um, incorporating it into a celebration as part of its own panel is weird to me.
Yeah.
It just, there's a difference between having a little like, yeah, if they got together, I mean, they're not related, well, whatever.
Yeah.
On a relationship level, I could never see it working, considering they're polar opposites.
Yeah.
But it's okay to have that fantasy. Where it becomes really bad is you got those crazy. You have the ones on the far side, the ones that take it to another level where they take it to real life and
Mm-hmm.
they're threatening the actors and things like that. And
Yeah.
that's where I think that it gets a little bit too far left. Like,
Yeah.
since movies were created, we've always had a sense of wanting to be immersed, in the characters and things like that. And while there are certain things we'd never go that route,
Mm-hmm.
we would, we'd still be like, hey, I wish so and so and so and so would get together. But the
Yeah.
thing that makes that fascination
Mm-hmm.
so weird is that people have taken it to a level
Yeah.
of actually wanting it to happen in real life, and that's where it's like a dangerous, unhealthy level. That's where you got to be like, you know, this is fantasy. These are two fictional characters,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not the real life person. So don't try to set up the real life person. I believe the dude who plays Kylo Ren, something Driver.
Adam Driver.
Yeah, he's married, has kids, whatever else. And I heard stories of them like
Mm-hmm.
sending his wife death threats and things like that. And that's kind of
Oh
where
yeah.
you go to a really like unhealthy place. Like it's just like, dude, this is Star Wars. It isn't real.
Yep.
Don't bring it to this like really crazy, insane place. And
Yeah.
to bring everything together, that's what I wanted to talk about. Like the state of Star Wars is just crap. And most of my videos, because I'm so engrossed in the MCU, have been with everything going on with Captain Marvel and things with
Yeah.
Endgame. And I'm glad to like not talk about that for a while. I'm glad to get back to another love I had, which was Star Wars. My favorite out of the prequel, by the way, is Revenge of the Sith. Um, the part with Palpatine versus Yoda
That
will,
was epic. I love that.
and of course the epic battle between Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Yeah.
So many great lines.
Yeah.
No one will ever forget. I got the high ground.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so that battle on Mustafar will probably I put it in the top tier of like lightsaber battles of all time.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, uh, really quick, I want to get your thoughts. We've talked about the old Star Wars, we talked about the new Star Wars, we talked about the general direction that it's going in. Um, to kind of wrap things up, I want to get your opinion as clearly a Star Wars fan. I mean, you got freaking Darth Vader's mask in your background there. And you're a dog lover, so kudos there. Um, I want to get your overall feelings of where Star Wars is at now, and we've talked about this a lot in the community. Do you think that it is an unrepairable mess, or do you think that Disney can, if they make different choices, they can pull it out of the deplorable funk that it in this broken state that they created? Do you think that they're able to fix it, or
Hmm.
do you think Star Wars can be fixed, or is it just too far gone?
I think it's just too far gone. Unless they decanonize everything and they, restart anew and have George Lucas in with it, then it'd be fixable. But if they're gonna continue down this path, then I say it's unfixable. because I believe that what they did is unforgivable, unfixable. You know, um, basically to me, the Disney Star Wars trilogy is dead for me because they had an opportunity to use the EU in canon, as it were given to them by George Lucas, and yet they threw it away. They canonized everything, and then I heard something about, I think it was on Twitter, or I think it was by Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, um, where he said that Disney was asking for George Lucas's help, and I'm like, you've already screwed it up. You've already done your damage, and unless you want to work with George Lucas again, you're gonna have to decanonize all of your material because there is no way, not even George Lucas can fix it. George Lucas can't even fix this. So I mean, yeah, I can't really say where Star Wars is headed right now. I mean, it's just so far down the gutter. It's not even funny.
And you know what? It's so glad to have you on here because everyone in this community and everyone in the Fandom collective that I'm part of and the Phantom Menace, those great people doing great work over there.
Yeah.
We've all been saying that the state of Star Wars is bad. Some calling it even critical, basically life support. And you know, does that mean necessarily that the IP dies? Not necessarily, but it means that it's damn sure not having a good chance to live. I mean, if someone's on life support, there's that hope that you could bring it back from the depths. But with the way that the fact they haven't gotten rid of Kathleen Kennedy, the fact that Ryan Johnson is indeed doing something Star Wars related, which that man should have a restraining order against anything Star Wars. Like,
yeah, I agree.
It's criminal. Yeah, I mean, he literally destroyed the universe in one movie. So that man should not touch anything Star Wars related. I think my personal opinion is that it it's a mess. Like the MCU, they made some poor choices, but people are still going to see Spider-Man Far From Home. People are still excited about it. I don't give a crap about anything coming out after Endgame. I said I'm done.
Yeah.
I might see Endgame because I love Spider-Man, but I don't know. I'm not interested in the rest of the crap coming out in Phase 4. But yeah, I think that the Star Wars though is in a much worse position. I think that they need to get new writers. Honestly, I think they need to, as they said, kill the old.
Yeah.
And create something new because this crap that they've given us for these subsequent years has been garbage, and even normal movie going people don't want to see this crap. That's apparent by the fact that no one went to see Solo. I mean, it lost so much money. And it wasn't just Star Wars fans, too. It was normal movie people who were pissed off about Last Jedi and said, you know what? This was garbage. I mean, this was bad on every level. I don't want to see anything else that's coming out.
Yeah.
And what?
Jedi, yeah.
Yeah, and they had people go, oh, well, Star Wars fatigue. Well, then tell me how not but a couple years ago you could release back-to-back Star Wars movies and you would have a ridiculous box office. There was a time when Star Wars came out, you couldn't release another movie around there in fear it wouldn't do well. Now they've got 5 movies announced around the time that this new Star Wars comes out. You want to know why? Because it doesn't have the same power that it had in the box office previously. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
And the movie companies recognize this. They've seen numbers. And I'm with you. If there's a way to fix it, I, for the life of me, don't know what that way is. I have no clue. I have no clue what they do to fix this franchise that's dying on life support. They would have to make a hell of an episode 9. Like this would literally have to erase an entire movie. And even if I give JJ the benefit of the doubt, and he makes the most epic masterpiece of a Star Wars movie that's ever been, and that's not going to happen, but let's just say in the world of ifs, if he did make the most masterful, epic Star Wars that has ever been,
Mm-hmm.
you still have the problem that they broke the rest of the canon.
Yep.
And, you know, that's the you know that's the world that we live in. And yes, 19K Endgame came out a month after Captain Marvel and made $2 billion. That's right, even Captain Marvel made $1 billion. There's no fatigue in good movies. Exactly. I disagree with the Captain Marvel thing because Captain Marvel only made $1 billion because it followed Infinity War, and you literally could have put a movie about a dog walking across the street and said it was tied into Endgame, and that would have did $1 billion too.
Yeah.
But the point is that 19K Fox was making, and he's absolutely right, is that if everyone was so fatigued, you wouldn't have like the back-to-back Marvel movies coming out doing billions of dollars. Now, by their logic, now if you had, I bet you, if you had Solo follow a good Star Wars movie, that easily would have been in the billions, and we probably would have forgiven the crap that was in there because we got two good Star Wars movies, and we could have been like, oh, well, the third one is coming out, and this is just to keep us busy until the third movie comes out.
Yeah.
But we didn't get that. We got
Right.
the Force Awakens, which was decent. We got pile of crap, which was The Last Jedi, and then we get this where they go, oh, there's gonna be time travel and there's going to be stuff to fix it. We promise. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this thing up. You've been a wonderful guest here on my channel. I look forward to maybe having you on a couple more times.
Okay.
I'd like to, get your channel out there. When I first started, I actually started with 49 subs.
Okay.
And now up to 185. And a lot of people have helped me in this community. This is a great community that we're in, and you are a really awesome person to talk to.
Thank you.
So, if you would like to plug anything about your channel, you got anything new and exciting coming out, let the fine folks, the 6 watching, and everybody in the chat know where they can find you, what your channel is, and drop that link. So if they're not subbed, everyone can sub to you.
Right. There is one thing I want to talk about before we do wrap this up. I have a GoFundMe going. I have a GoFundMe to raise money for a laptop. I have trouble with editing my videos because I have tried to look for apps because last year my previous laptop screen broke and my mom just said, well, it's just easier to replace, the laptop itself. So that's what I've decided to do. But yeah, I can't edit my videos like I want to. I mean, when I had my laptop, I was able to edit what I wanted. That's how I got those videos that were previously on my channel that I had to delete. And I've been struggling with, views and struggling with likes and everything like that. So, I would just if I could put a link in the description, or not description, but the chat, and if anybody wants to spread it out, spread the word, then that would be great.
Yeah, go ahead, drop that link in, and yeah, let's help this future content creator who we will hopefully be seeing a lot more at my channel, and hopefully get you out there in other places. Let's help her out. Go ahead and drop that link in the description below, and if you would like to help out a fellow content creator get some content out there, then click on that link. I'm all about helping out, so I'll click on there and send some money your way myself. So
Well, thank you so much. That is very sweet of you.
Oh, no, no problem. I've been often told that I'm a sweet ranter now. Anyone who knows me, uh, I go off on rants and tangents and things like that, and I come off as
Right.
abrasive. But I love the community, and I love this community, and I am willing to help out anyone who is trying to get a start. Because when I was first starting out, a lot of people gave me help, and they just said pay it forward. So that's what I'm doing.
That's awesome. I'm glad that somebody was able to help you. Are you talking about Mary Mayhem too?
Yes.
Yeah, she's a great YouTuber. I like her. She's an awesome YouTuber. I also have somebody that's helped me out. Well, Stephanie Janisek, she's helped me. And then I also have a woman named Bonnie Burgess. She's also good.
And
And mom.
no, no, not me.
Yep, my mom has helped me out too. So
Aw.
No,
What?
the other guy.
Oh, you mean
Come on.
Demonjanai? Yes, Demonjanai. He
Yeah,
helped me out
don't
too.
forget about him.
Sorry, I didn't think of him.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, he helped.
He actually donated $10 to my GoFundMe. Yeah, let me grab the link real quick. I'm just now doing that. Hold on a second. It's taking me a little.
not a problem, and I will put that link into a chat that I'm part of and see if we can't
All right.
raise some money for you to get a new laptop so you can get on there and be creating content.
Yeah. I also want to do also gaming as well.
Yeah, game review.
I want to do I've always wanted to play the Force Unleashed 1 and 2, and I really wanted to do playthroughs of both because I did play them on Nintendo DS and yeah, they were okay, but I'd really like to get the experience on PC, to be honest.
Well, I know quite a few gamers in the community as well, so
Sorry.
yeah, I'll make sure I get this link around for everyone
Alright.
else who is in
There it
my
is right there. It's right there, but yeah, thank you so much and really appreciate it. I really do.
No problem. And everyone who watched this, or everyone who will be watching this, there are the links down below. Please go and subscribe to this great YouTuber. Please go and if you can, drop some love in that GoFundMe and get this lady a laptop because I was shooting off of my phone forever and iPads and things like that. And I know what it is like.
This
The
one right
struggle is
here,
real.
it's a crowd.
the
This dies
the
on me. It does, and it's a piece of crap. So
Yep, I know exactly what it's like to depend on the cell phone and then it dies at the very last second. I
yeah.
have lived that struggle. Sometimes I still do go on my phone from time to time, having to do hangouts and things like that. But anyways, this has been Lee's Talk. It's been a great addition. I was so glad to have you on the channel, and I look forward to having you back here again. And maybe I'll be jump on with a couple of friends of mine when
Okay.
we do our streams.
Just let me
I
know
will,
when.
I'll drop you links and let you know when we do that. We stream all over the place and randomly. So but yeah, really quick, plug your channel for us. Let all the good folks know what your channel is about and what kind of content we can find on there and such.
Okay. Like I said before, when we started this, my channel is mostly about Star Wars, but I do like to talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I also like to talk about like cartoons. I've talked about. Oh yeah, and Butt Larson. My mom likes to call her.
Oh yeah, Woodface Bree. We all like to talk about Woodface.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've talked about her antics and stuff like that, the way that she's been acting, lately. And yeah, just most of my channel is about Star Wars though, but I do like to, I've also talked about what else have I talked about? Trying to think. That's pretty much all I talked about, really. But
Mm-hmm. You do some singing.
oh yeah, I do singing too. So I mean, I like to sing, and I would like to, maybe draw too, but that right now. So
So yeah, that was that was awesome, and I really do appreciate having you on. And as always, it is the world's longest plug, but it is my channel. It is the most groundbreaking, earth-shaking, but never media show money taking, the man, the myth, the legend, the most electrifying YouTuber in YouTube entertainment today, Liko the Fourth. And here on my channel, I have had a marvelous guest. I will be having on here two guys on a couch. You get two bald guys on the couch. I always forget the bald. Um, they will be here tomorrow to chit chat with me on a special edition of Lee Talks. We will be talking about the lost art of movie critiquing and shilling. It should be a great discussion. Also, if you don't know, every Monday I do Game of Thorns with PB because this season has been a thorn in our collective side, and we gripe and we dissect each and every episode,
mhm.
telling you our problems and our issues with the season as a whole. Also, I will be bringing back my Alien Watch Party, which is to be determined who I have, but Prime Geek and Chris Knight from Chris Knight's Review 3000 will be on there as well with other to be named special guests. And I will be also doing more random rants and talks, seeing as to I had everybody listening on one of my random rant streams for a good 2.5 hours. So as always, thank you very much for tuning in to the channel. If you like this, please hit that like button. If you are not subscribed to me, which is hard to believe because I'm so magnetic, please subscribe. If you're not subscribed to this beautiful young lady here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and show her some love. And down there is the GoFundMe. Let's get this girl a laptop so that she can do some quality entertainment for you guys out there in YouTubeverse. Until next time, thank you very much. And as I always say, me and my beautiful future wife, Rose Tico, will see you at the movies. Peace out, everyone.
Peace out.